We
Okay.
look significantly weaker and worse internationally when we have one president with an inconsistent message, such as imposing tariffs, revoking tariffs, imposing them, revoking them, imposing them, revoking them, or stopping funding to Ukraine, resuming funding to Ukraine, stopping funding to Ukraine, resuming funding to Ukraine, or saying they're the most pro-Israel president ever, then get mad at Netanyahu on the phone, but then not saying that Palestine is a state, but then also helping them in their ethnic cleansing. So the idea, the myth that this country looks stronger under Donald Trump's leadership is nothing more than propaganda that exists on the American television, not in the minds, thoughts, or beliefs of anybody living outside of America or the leadership of any country that isn't America. Wait, there's a difference
But
between not being a fan of the state of Israel and not being a fan of Jewish people, right? I'm not a fan of the
not
state of Israel either. I'm not a fan of Netanyahu. I'm not a fan of the IDF. I'm not a fan of what they're doing in Palestine. But to use that to equivocate like neo-Nazism is completely insane, right? No, I don't think that it is acceptable in the slightest to point out one group of people predicated on some common traits such as religion and slash ethnicity, and then demonize them, paint them as in charge, the evil power, just to serve as a tool of dehumanization to further their oppression, especially when Jewish individuals have been historically oppressed, very much so, referencing the Holocaust. Hi, are you MAGA or is MAGA dead?
yeah, man, I'm MAGA.
Nice, bro. How old are you?
22.
22. Oh,
Yes, sir.
my goodness gracious. Lay it on me. How can you still support this terrible president?
Think he's doing a lot of great things in this country, my man.
Okay,
Who
I
do you think
disagree.
he's not doing good?
For sure. Would you prefer a response in a single paragraph, 4 paragraphs, a doctoral thesis, or a 10-page research paper?
Just talk to me like I'm a person, brother.
All right, I'll talk to you like you're a person. There's a lot of reasons why I don't support Trump as president. Let's start with his character. Okay, his character is one of the main 3 categories that I detest, and it's because his character is detestable in of itself. The reason I say his character is detestable is because we're looking at a man that's been held civilly liable for raping at a woman. We're looking at a man that has sexualized 10-year-old girls, a man that has boasted about perving on the naked bodies of minors and unconsensually perving on the naked bodies of adult women. We're looking at a man that has said he would be dating his daughter if she wasn't his daughter. We're looking at a man that was best buddies with Epstein, sending him letters with pictures of naked women in the statement, "May every day be a new wonderful secret." We're looking at a man who has been found guilty of 34 felonies, a man who has said the best thing that can ever happen to a woman is pregnancy, a man that said all black people are lazy, a man that tried to convince Americans in 2012 that they shouldn't vote for Obama because he's black. That must mean he was born in Africa, meaning he's not constitutionally eligible to run for the presidency, alongside many other attributes. We will start there. Of course, we have our 2 other categories, domestic policy and foreign policy. But I just said a whole lot. I'll let you digest it, and I'll let you give a response. Take it away.
Yeah, that was a lot to think about. What evidence you got for the rape allegations and all that? I'm not quite caught up on everything.
You ask a great question. My evidence would be the findings of a court. Yeah. A unanimous jury of 9 instead of a civil court in New York in 2023 after 3 years of discovery, deliberation, and arguments from Trump and the woman that he raped, E. Jean Carroll, led a unanimous jury of 9, in part picked by Donald Trump's billionaire attorneys, to conclude that it is true that Donald Trump had raped her.
Didn't know that. Well, what would you choose to be the president? Who would you pick?
Right now, anybody but Trump.
Anybody but Trump?
Anybody. And well, I mean, that's a little bit, that's rhetorical. I don't mean that. I think that there's many good options. Maybe before we move on to that conversation, we'll stick on why you support him or what your thoughts are on some of my reasons why I don't.
Well, I support a lot of what he does because, I don't really appreciate illegals.
Oh.
I'm a Christian man, so I support pro-life.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
And I like the way he's doing the tariff.
You said that
I believe in a
you don't
strong
appreciate
national
undocumented
economy.
immigrants, and you are Christian.
Yes, sir.
Leviticus verse immigrants. Give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Yeah. What does Leviticus 19:33 through 34 say?
I don't know. I don't have my Bible on me. You tell me.
Okay, great. I will happily tell you. Leviticus 33 through 34 says, was it when an immigrant resides with you in your land, you shall not oppress the immigrant. The immigrant who resides with you shall be to you as the citizen among you. You shall love the immigrant as yourself, for you were immigrants in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
What's the historical context behind them verses? That's extremely important when talking about the Bible. There's a lot of philosophy and theology going on there. You can't just rip one line. You got to give me the full context.
Yeah, the context was that God had freed the Israelites from Egypt. The Israelites then migrated to the Israel, quote unquote, land of Judea. And then throughout Leviticus, we see a conversation between Moses and God. God lays out a bunch of moral commandments for Moses for the Israelites, and this is one of them.
Now he says immigrant, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about illegal immigrant? Does he say that?
God, what a shitty argument. What are you talking about?
Well, what I'm saying is, it doesn't sound like everything you're saying is quite in the greater scheme of Leviticus and what it's saying. Leviticus has got a lot of things that it says not to do and to do. It's a very
I'm
big
sorry,
book.
I gotta talk to you about one of your reposts real quick. You said that you're a good Christian, yet you have a repost just reeking anti-Semitism, literally saying, and I quote, "It's the Jews. It's been the Jews this whole time."
Yeah, I'll defend that every day of the week. You know, in the Bible, it says that we as Christians are the true heirs to Christ. It says Revelation 3:9, 3:10 that there will be fake Jews.
Okay, let's call Jewish individuals. Let's call Jewish people Jewish people. Only reason why I quoted that was because that's what the repost said. But let's call Jewish people Jewish people. Now you're telling me that Christians are like the real followers of Christ? Yeah, no fucking shit. In accordance with Christian theology, Christians are the followers of Jesus. Just like in accordance with Islamic theology, Muslims are the follower of Islam. Just like in accordance with Jewish theology, Jewish individuals are the followers of the prophets of the Torah. So, I mean, just come on, bro. Just simply telling me that Christian individuals are the true followers of God doesn't tell me anything outside of what we already know about the way in which religion functions.
Well, historical evidence is that rabbinic Judaism did not exist at Jesus' time. This is something that came up long after Christ, quite a few hundred years after Christ, actually. Judaism did not exist at Christ's time.
This also tells me nothing about like arguing that anti-Semitism is true and it's something that we should believe. The Islamic religion didn't come until 500 years after Christ had died, but yet you're not like screaming about Muslims. Like all that I'm pointing out is that you seem to be holding on to like quite some crazy takes here that are incredibly anti-Semitic. What do you mean when you when you're reposting shit saying, "Oh, it's the Jewish people. It's always been the Jewish people"?
Well, if you look back through history and you look at who controls the banks and these corporate organizations and you look at who's really leading the country, a criticism of Trump, he's too Israel first. I'm not a fan of Israel.
Wait, there's a difference between not being a fan of the state of Israel and not being a fan of Jewish people, right? I'm not a fan of the state of Israel either. I'm not a fan of Netanyahu. I'm not a fan of the IDF. I'm not a fan of what they're doing in Palestine. But to use that to equivocate like neo-Nazism is completely insane, right? No, I don't think that it is acceptable in the slightest to point out one group of people predicated on some common traits such as religion and/slash ethnicity, and then demonize them, paint them as in charge, the evil power, just to serve as a tool of dehumanization to further their oppression. Especially when Jewish individuals have been historically oppressed, very much so, referencing the Holocaust.
Well, look up, if you can, Dean, look up who owns BlackRock and look up all the companies that BlackRock owns and tell me that they don't own everything about us. They own us.
Oh,
the Jewish people.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, let's point out one Jewish man that owns a company. Take a trait of this one Jewish man that owns a company that has nothing to do with the fact that he owns a company, that fact being that he's Jewish, and then let's equivocate from him to they and reference everybody else that is also Jewish and use this as a tool to further bigotry. All right, well, let's take one white teenage boy that shot up a school, take one trait of him that had nothing to do with why he shot up that school, that trait being white, and then let's go from he to they from this white man to all white men and demonize them as violent shooters that you should not feel safe around in any context whatsoever because they kill innocent kids.
All I'm saying is, it's just a little weird that this one specific group of people own a lot of the wealth in our country. They own a lot of the power in our country. They own a lot of the corporations in our country. It's not just BlackRock. A lot of companies are led by Jewish people, and it's just a little weird. It's just a little odd that one group's a little over represented in our economy. It's kind of strange that they've been kicked out of so many countries. At what point do you just say that?
Wait. So if one group is overrepresented in our economy, country, government, etc., then that like one group is like evil. Okay. Every president we've ever had has been a white man. Does that mean that white men are evil?
I think that's a bit of I think that's some sort of fallacy right there. Something about that argument.
No. What's the fallacy? No, please tell me. What's the fallacy?
Well, just because in a historically white country that white men would run a historically white country doesn't really mean
an historically white country. So first and foremost, I don't think that America is an historically white country. And second of all, I think what you're trying to say is that it's been disproportionately white. This does not change the fact that still... Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say every single president we've had has been a white man before Obama, and I left out that part. That's what I always say. I forgot the last part of my sentence. My bad, chat. I didn't forget about Obama. I forgot to say before Obama. My fault, everybody. So now you're going on to say, well, then the country's been disproportionately white. Well, still yet, the amount of presidents that we've had, as well as the amount of representatives within our Congress that have been white, is always been and is still today disproportionate to the representation of the overall populace.
The historical demographics of America has been like 90% white up until recent history. It's not disproportionate when we are the majority of the country.
Do you think that? Oh, no. It's literally still disproportionate because even if 90% of Americans today were white, and your claim that 90% of Americans have always been white was true, still yet over 90% of our presidents have been white. So your argument still fails. And even if the false information that you're suggesting is truth was actually true, there'd still be a disproportionate amount of white people leading. You just A, don't know history, but B, even if we accept your false claims, we're still yielding a disproportionate amount of white men in leadership positions.
Yeah, I just don't think that's true. I think a majority white country would have a vast majority of white leaders. That just having the one president. You didn't even hear what I just
said. Dude, the Nazi can't even understand the words. It's bad.
Well, for one, I'm not a Nazi.
What are your thoughts on Nazis?
What are my thoughts on Nazis? I'm not a Nazi. Do I agree with some of the take?
All right, let's go to move on to the next guest. Guys, hop in that queue if you support Trump. Perfect. So why do you support Trump? Let's hear it.
So it's like for me, I just feel like I have like a weird take on politics in the sense of like I really liked Obama and I really liked Trump, and I really liked Obama because like I thought he was like a really good leader, and I think like ethics wise, like he was awesome, right?
So what about Trump? Why do you like Trump?
I like Trump because of I feel like the stigma with like Americans, and like we were seen as like weak or kind of we didn't have our shit together when we had Biden in office, and that was like more of like from my perspective, right? Which is like I think what you want us to share.
This is what the TV told you.
Say again. I don't really watch TV, but it's more so for me. Like I travel and like in my interactions.
Listen,
right? Like
I have a question.
Wait, can I finish my point though, or is?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to respond, but go for it.
But it's just like Americans were seen as like ignorant or arrogant, right? Like that's like a typical stereotype, right? And I don't disagree with that, but it's like, would you rather be like seen like as like weak as well and arrogant? Like, isn't that kind of like ironic in a sense?
I have 2 points for you. First and foremost, nobody's more weak and more arrogant than Trump. Second of all,
why do you say he's weak? Sorry.
If you allow me to finish speaking, you asked me to allow you to finish, so now you allow me to finish. Second of all, let's make this incredibly clear. Our country looks stronger internationally when we have a president with one consistent message and one consistent fight for what they believe in. We look significantly weaker and worse internationally when we have one president with an inconsistent message, such as imposing tariffs, revoking tariffs, imposing them, revoking them, imposing them, revoking them, or stopping funding to Ukraine, resuming funding to Ukraine, stopping funding to Ukraine, resuming funding to Ukraine, or saying they're the most pro-Israel president ever, then getting mad at Netanyahu on the phone, but then not saying that Palestine is a state, but then also helping them in their ethnic cleansing, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a fact. So the idea, the myth, that this country looks stronger under Donald Trump's leadership is nothing more than propaganda that exists on the American television, not in the minds, thoughts, or beliefs of anybody living outside of America or the leadership of any country that isn't America.
Yeah, I think those are good points. Like, I don't disagree with that. But that's like my thing is like, I still like the question, right? You have is like, do you still support Trump? Like, so do you feel, right? If someone shares views that you don't agree with, do you feel like as a citizen of like your country, do you feel like it's negative or like has a positive impact by not supporting them? Like,
Has a positive impact to not support a president if the president is doing bad things.
So, but like, so it's like, but like, do you think like that like is like a bad thing to support him, even if you don't support everything? If that makes sense.
It's a bad thing to support him if overall the presidency is a total negative impact on the country and on the world.
But like, would you say like everything he's done has been like inherently bad, like across the board?
Okay, you're just asking me questions. Is this an interview?
I mean, is it not? Like, we're trying to find common ground. I thought a debate is a back and forth, is it not?
So I don't think that everything Donald Trump has ever done is bad. I just think that 99% of the things that Donald Trump has ever done is bad.
I think 99, like literally, or are you just being like facetious?
No, I'm being pretty literal. I'm going to be honest.
Okay, I feel like that's not a good point, but I feel like your other take I do agree with.
Okay,
but
so then give me a handful of good things that Trump has done. Let's hear it.
Say again?
So then give me a handful of good things that Trump has done.
Like, I think like him and like strong-arming the ceasefire agreement was like pretty positive. Like, I think
agreement where?
In Israel, and like, did he not help that?
What
did he not have
ceasefire
a
agreement did he strong arm?
in Israel?
Dude, there's unironically like a child dying every single day on the Gaza Strip because of the stage 5 famine onset by Israeli blockades. There's no ceasefire.
So that's 100% his fault.
What? What's 100% whose fault?
Like, we're using bad statistics, right? You're saying 99% of the things he's done is bad, right? So is that 100% his fault?
Is what 100% whose fault?
Is that 100% Trump's fault that there are children dying, you said, on the Gaza Strip?
It's not 100% Trump's fault. How does this relate to the point?
But you asked me, what was your question?
I
What has
asked you
he
to give
done
me a
that's
handful of
positive?
good things that Trump has done. You said that he was able to achieve a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
And I said he had
and
a
I
positive
responded to that,
impact
and then I
on the
responded to that by pointing out that there is no ceasefire, and I have no clue what you're talking about.
So there
And-
is
and then I
no
gave- then I-
ceasefire
then I gave-
agreement at all?
Then exactly none.
Okay, so then maybe I'm misinformed, because my understanding of it is it seems like there has been an agreement, and that is the last update that I've seen.
No.
So then I'm
Yeah, man,
misinformed.
you are just misinformed. Is there any other good things that you could point out that Trump has done? I'd love to talk to them. Love to talk about them with you. That makes you support him?
That makes me support. I mean, I feel like as an American, I feel like it is my job to support like my president, right? Like,
No,
I
it's
don't.
not. No, it's not. I fucking hate this rhetoric. No, you don't blindly support
Okay, but that's
people in
what I'm
positions
saying.
of
It's like,
power.
how are you gonna ask me a question, and then it's like you continue just like cut me off? You know,
Because you're
it's
already
like,
repeating that what we've already gone over. It's not a good thing to blindly support those that are in power, because when you have power, you could influence the lives of others, and one hidden check/balance of any well-functioning democracy would be the social support for or against like a president and what they're doing. So if we have a president that is doing a whole lot of bad things, it is actually your civil duty to enact that hidden check and balance, which would be public support for or against it, and advocate against it and voice your support for somebody else and voice your support against the president, right? So I completely get it, right? If you're telling me that you support the president because the president is doing good things, but if you're giving me the argument that you support the president regardless of the fact that he's really hurting the country out of virtue of the fact that he is the president, at that point you're just simply putting one person over the 330 million Americans that matter.
I think that's a little bit extreme, but I do agree with that point, like part of that point.
Okay, so if you agree with a part of the point, that would indicate that we just shouldn't blindly support the president, and we should in fact
I
not
don't
support them
think
if they're
so. I
doing
think,
bad
like,
things.
that's
I will
why
once again
debates
ask you,
is-
what are a handful of good things that Trump has done that have made you support him?
I just told you like one of the things that I thought was impactful in like a positive way, and I'm also starting to agree with you, and like what you're saying does make sense. Like you shouldn't like blindly follow, but it's like I feel like your debates, it's like I first found out about you and like Charlie Kirk was dodging you, and that, I thought that was like super funny, right? And like that was like the first thing that like made me catch wind of like your content. But like for me, it's like my impression, like politics is not like a big thing that I follow. Like I'm more of like if I want to make an impact on like my community, like I'm going to be out and like volunteer or like do something to help those around me. You know what I mean? But I think debates help educate people like myself, right?
Yeah, for sure,
Where
man.
it's
I
like,
think they definitely can. So how about we go over some other points? What are the reasons you possess insofar as why you support Trump? Let's hear it.
say again.
Why do you support Trump? Let's go over a couple more points. Let's seek
I already
clarification.
told like, but that's what I'm saying. It's like you're acting like I'm trying to prove that like he's a good guy or like that my president's good. I'm saying it's like no, like I think like in like okay, so like I felt like the economy was in a good place before COVID, right? And Trump was in office, correct?
Okay, so you think that Trump is good for the economy? Okay, I disagree.
feel like
I think that
at
he's passed
times-
really bad economic policy. So what
Not
is a
gonna-
good economic policy that you think Trump has passed?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you're clearly more educated on the matter, right? And I feel like it's like your thing is like you're a strong debater, right? And you're very well educated. And it's like for people, it's like you're saying, oh, people in power like are, you know, like we need to hold them accountable and we can't just blindly follow them, you know? Like
Can we
right?
stick on one? Can we stick on one point at a time, please?
I feel like you don't do the same thing, but sure, we can try.
I am definitely trying to. You told me in
Yeah.
a nutshell that you support Trump because you think he's good for the economy. Okay, so what is your favorite Trump
That's-
economic policy?
But
Let's go.
but that's not even what I said.
Well, you
I
said
said
that the
I felt
economy
like
was good before
the
COVID when Trump was president.
I felt
I
like
thought
the
no. One
economy
second, allow me to
was in a good
finish.
place.
So you told me that the
But no,
economy.
it's like-
You told me that the economy was good before COVID under Trump's presidency. In response to me asking you, what is a handful of good things Trump has done that has made you support him? If the obvious takeaway isn't that therefore you think that Donald Trump's good for the economy, well, then I'm just going to ask you to be more clear about the good things that you think Trump has done that makes you support him. This is now going to be my last time asking you the question. If you can't give me a clear response to this question, I'm unfortunately going to have to move on to the next guest. But I do want to give you a chance to make your voice heard. So give a clear reason why he's a good president, or unfortunately, I'm going to have to move on. I'm going to go and send you an invite to unmute your mic. Let's see if you could do it.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, like I'm not going to be able to. 'Cause I think you're just more of a
All right, I appreciate you so much for your time, man. Let's go to move on to the next guest, you guys. Hopefully, if you're in that queue and you want to come up here and talk to me about why you support Trump, you have reasons why you support Trump. We really shouldn't support people without reasons, especially the president.